Hi folks, HR Funk here with a new announcement from Osight, and I've got to say the people at Osight are some of the most industrious individuals in the entire optics business, which is all the more remarkable when we consider they've only been in that business for about a year, and during the course of that year they announced the original Osight, and then throughout 2024 they announced several variations of the original Osight that had different reticle colors and different finish colors for the body of the sight. Then earlier this year, they announced the Osight X, which was the first version of the Osight that offered a user-selectable reticle, and the user could go between a 2-minute of angle dot, a 32-minute of angle circle, or both, the 32-minute of angle circle with the 2-minute of angle dot. And at the same time, they announced the release of the Osight S, which had that same multi-reticle system as the Osight X, but this time we also had a sight with the RMSC footprint and an enclosed emitter system, so this version of the Osight was appropriate for smaller carry-style firearms that were going to be out in all different kinds of conditions. Now, just a couple of months later, Osight has announced a new version of the Osight S. What I have here is the olive green version of the Osight S, and in this video I'm going to give you an up-close look at the Osight S. I'll tell you about it quickly, and I've got to make it quickly because it's going to be introduced for sale in just a couple of days on April 14th of 2025. There's also going to be a special introductory price. I'll tell you about that as well. So let's get right into it and take an up-close look at the olive green version of the Osight S. Here is our first up-close look at the olive green Osight S. And if you're not familiar with the Osight line, the original Osight was the industry's first ever magnetically rechargeable optic, and it's rechargeable by way of this removable cover. And let me change the focus just a little bit. The cover is charged with a standard USB-C charging cord, and you can see the charging port right there. And it maintains a charge of its own. And when we use the indicator, which I actuate by pushing the button on the side, it shows us that this cover has about 2/3 of a charge. And when this cover is fully charged, it will recharge the optic itself from the point where the battery inside the Osight is completely depleted all the way to where it is completely charged 3 times. Now, to put this into perspective, I have one of the original Osights on another firearm that I have been waiting for almost a year for the battery to completely deplete so I can report back and tell everyone how long that takes, and so far it hasn't occurred. When it does happen, I will let you know. But the sight doesn't die quickly, and part of the reason is because it has a shake awake feature, so the reticle does sleep after a period of time, but then when it senses any movement, it comes right back on. When we put the cover in place, it also shows us the charge of the sight itself, which is now what's indicated on the top, and that indicates that this sight is completely charged. And as I said, it's going to last for a long, long time with that initial charge. But when it ever runs down, I can simply put the cover back on top and recharge it. These sights are always charged normally, except for the one that I'm waiting to see how long it takes to finally deplete. I keep stored with the charging cover in place because according to the folks at Osight, the battery that they use will not develop a memory. So I'm not worried about the battery life diminishing over time by keeping it constantly with the charger attached to it, or the charging cover, I should say, attached to it. And that's another nice thing because I know my optic is always fully charged. I don't have to worry about the battery running down at the worst possible time. If you missed the video that I released earlier this year when I reviewed both the Osight X and Osight S, I can tell you that this optic shares all the features and characteristics with the original Osight S, i.e. enclosed emitter system, RMSC footprint, shake awake, also the multi-reticle system, the side mounted buttons that allow brightness settings to be increased or decreased, and also there is an auto brightness function. But rather than try to reiterate all of that, what I'm going to do is put a link in the description of this video to that original review, and you can go back and watch that and see all the characteristics of this optic in detail. The big difference obviously is that this version of the Osight S is finished in the olive green color for both the optic itself and the recharging cover. In addition to the recharging cover, there are several accessories that come along with the olive green version of the Osight S. And these are the same accessories that come along with the standard version of the Osight S, to include 7 different types of mounting screws to try to ensure you've got screws that are going to be compatible with your specific firearm. There is also a USB-C charging cord. There is a tool for both mounting the Osight as well as adjusting it. And there's a carry pouch for all your accessories once you take them out of the box. So you get quite a bit that comes along for you to be able to use your Osight S right out of the box. And there's a look at the reticle of the olive green Osight S. And as I said before, this is user selectable. This is the 32 minute of angle circle with the 2 minute of angle dot in the middle. And by pressing and holding the rearmost minus button, I can change to the 2 minute of angle dot only, or the 32 minute of angle circle only, and then one more time will bring me back to the circle dot. The olive green version of the Osight S, just like the standard version, is covered by Osight's lifetime warranty, so that's extremely cool. And I can tell you, I have been using the standard version of the Osight S on my carry pistol, my Masada 9S, since this sight was released, and it has been a great optic. I have not had any problems with it whatsoever, and I keep it on the auto brightness setting, so it selects the proper brightness level for the ambient light conditions, and it maintains the ability to increase the brightness by 1 level manually, even when you have it set on auto brightness. So if you're in one of those situations where you need just a little bit more light, or a little bit more illumination, I should say, of the reticle, then you can add 1 brightness level even though you have it on the auto brightness setting. Also, with respect to the reticle, I have to say that, as usual, when you're looking through the optic itself, the reticle looks much better to your eye than you're seeing in the video image. This is just the best that I can get on camera. The regular price for the olive green version of the Osight S is $249.99, but as I said back at the beginning of the video, there is a special introductory offer on this optic beginning at 8 o'clock p.m. on April the 14th, 2025, and going through 11:59 p.m. on April the 18th, 2025. The olive green Osight S is going to be available for 25% off, and there are some special gifts that are going to come along with the olive green Osight S for anyone who purchases it during that time. So check the link in the description of this video for more information on purchasing the olive green Osight S. And I've got to say, folks, I am a big fan of the Osights. I use both the full-size version and the Osight S. I really like a lot of the features that these sights have. They have worked well for me. I have put them through quite a bit of endurance testing, and they just continue to work. So if you make a purchase, you can make a purchase with confidence, at least as far as my endorsement is concerned, because I really like this optic. See you next time, folks, and until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.